building routines for back to school. Yeah, the next session is about to begin, and as teachers, as founders, students, it's very essential that we build routines, as we head back for the new academic session. So when we talk about building routines, what do we mean? Okay. How can I address routines when students return this fall? That's a very important question. How can I address routines when students return this fall? Addressing routines when students return to school in the fall is essential for creating a structural and supportive learning environment. So here are some strategies to help you effectively establish and reinforce routines. The first one I want to talk about is plan ahead. Yes, plan ahead. Plan ahead by identifying key routines. And creating virtual aids to help children understand and remember the necessary steps. So it's not just about for the children, the learners, even for teachers. So you have to plan ahead, okay? And that simply means you have to identify key routines, creating that visual aid to help you understand and remember the necessary steps. The next one I want to talk about is introduce routines gradually. Introduce routines gradually. Introduce routines gradually and model all routines. Think aloud are good ways to explain your thinking and action. So we are introducing this routine gradually, right? And you want to model this routine, thinking out loud can sometimes be a good way to explain your thinking and action. You have to teach routines explicitly. That's the third one. The second one was introduce routine gradually. The third one is teach routines explicitly. So teach the routine explicitly, just like you do academic content. Practice the routines using role playing and repetition. So you have to practice it. You have to let the learners know, okay, these are the routines. When you come to school in the morning, bags should be in the locker. Bags should be in the locker. No books on the table. Books should be inside your desk. The books for the day. So if I'm offering 6 subjects, I'm expecting that 6 subjects should be under my desk. So I don't have to go back and forth getting my activity note between classes. So it's important that you teach them, just like we do with the academic content. And most time we have to practice with them, with role playing, showing them repetition over and over again, because not every student gets it on the first go. The next one is, which is number 4, be consistent. Be consistent in implementing the routine and visual, okay, using visual and verbal cues. What do I mean? I will explain that. When I talk about be consistent in implementing the routine, it's not something you just say once and then you go. It's something you have to say repeatedly. You have to say it again and again and again and again to the children, to the students, to the learners, for teachers as well. Sometimes you need to make them see it graphically, your routines. Number 5, use position reinforcement. Use position reinforcement by acknowledging students for the following rules and celebrate their success for mastering the routines. So this positional reinforcement is very, very key. So when students they do the right thing, acknowledge them, and when they do the wrong thing, you have to chastise them. Very, very important. Number 6, involve students. Involve students in creating some routines to give them ownership. Okay, so as teachers, you want to involve the learners. Okay, we have to create some rules. So, what are the rules that we should have in class? What are those rules we should have in class? What are those things? What are the do's? What are the don'ts? What do you bring in? So, when they contribute, they are also gaining ownership of. Okay, we said it that if you come to class late, then there have to be some form of punishment, right? And if you do this or you cross talk when the teacher is talking in class, then you're doing something wrong. And when you're distracting the class where a class is ongoing, you're doing something wrong. If your head is on the table where when the teacher is teaching, then you're doing something wrong. So involving students in creating some routines to give them that ownership. Number 7, review and adjust. Review and adjust the routines. If they are not effective or the needs of the class change. So your routine should not be static. It should be flexible. That's what we're seeing. Your routine should not be static. It should be flexible. So that there'll be a need to always review when the needs of the class changes. Number 8, okay? So what are those? How can we address routines when the learners are returning these 4? Communicate with parents. Communicate with parents by sharing the class routine so they can reinforce at home. Okay, there's something called study prep. And we had that in the morning. So every morning we have a study prep. When you come to school, there is a timetable for morning prep. So this engage the learners so as not to window off in the morning. They come to class in the morning. They want to say hi to their friends, and which is fine, okay. But there should be a form of study in between. Okay, so sometimes they have like 30 minutes before they come in, before it's time for the virtual assembly. So they have like 20 minutes for study. A quick study goes a long way. Just a brief study goes a long way. And probably they have 1, 2 to say hi and hello, and they're back for the virtual prep, for the virtual assembly. So this is very, very important. So even at home, they can reinforce it at home. So okay, so you have a morning prep, probably you can have probably like a night prep at home, and you can do this, and all the things are so important. So important. Number 9, create a positive classroom environment. Create a positive classroom environment where children feel valued and safe. Clearly communicate expectations and routines from the very start of the school year. Clearly communicate expectations and routines from the very start of the school year. So they should know what to expect at the beginning of your interaction with them. They should know what are the do's and don'ts from you as a teacher. What are you expecting from them as a student? And what are those routines that are always binding in your class and whenever you have them? Now, okay, for ICT, it's quite simple. You must come to school with your textbook and your laptop. Okay, when it's time for the theoretical part, you have to come to school with your textbook. And why is it important that you have to come to school with your textbook? Because you will have a lot of tasks to do from your textbook. And from the textbook, we get to explore, we get to dissect parts that are very relevant that you should take note of so that when you're going back for your personal studies, you know exactly what to study for. And when it's time for the practical, you have to come to class with your laptop. And why do you have to come to class with your laptop? Because it is part of the lesson objective, assessment objective, to provide ICT, giving you skill to provide the ICT-based solution. So this is very important and key. So you have to clearly communicate expectations and routine from the very start of the school year. So examples of daily routine implementation is very important. Okay, so by thoughtfully planning, explicitly teaching, and consistently reinforcing routines, you can create a classroom environment that supports learning, reduces disruption, and helping students feel secure and ready to learn. So this is very, very important. Thank you.